Yoelea, 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 Yoelea.
I'm Robert Satayakam of the Puyallup Nation, and you are listening to KAOS 89.3 FM.
And this is Make No Bones About It. We have Robert Upham on the line. And how you doing tonight, Robert?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can. So thanks for calling and sharing with us. I know that there's some things coming up, and we'll go from there. I think it's March 22nd. I got to go look at the computer. But until then, you want to let us fill us in on the event, and then we'll talk a little bit.
We're having an event on March 22nd at the University Friends Meeting House. It's near the University of Washington. I don't know the address right off the top of my head. I apologize. But the event is a fundraiser for Blue Pony Youth Program. And we're celebrating the unsung hero in Indian country. And these are even names of people that should be well known by our community, including our youth. And I've been working with youth for a little bit, and one of the things that I want to promote this year is the Iroquois and their game of lacrosse. And we've been doing that for a little while, and this year the Iroquois will be participating in the World Championship. So they're an unsung hero. Not very many people know that it's an Indian game. Another unsung hero is Jim Thorpe. You know, we just celebrated the Super Bowl and the Seahawks winning. And not very many people know that this gentleman, Sackett Fox, helped found the NFL and had an all-Indian team, was one of the first teams in the NFL. Another unsung hero is people that fought for the fishing rights and gave their lives for it, like Valerie Bridges, who died at 20 years of age, and just days within passing away in the Puyallup area or Nisqually area, she was arrested for fishing. And then so that's one of the names that I would like to raise up, including names like Robert Free, who's local, and there's just many names that we could talk about. That's what the event is for. So anybody who wants to come forward and share some poetry or share some words and memories about individuals that we need to hold in esteem for our history, for the Indian people and our youth. So that's what the event's for. We'll be having blues music by Scatter Their Own, visiting and coming through from South Dakota. Blues music by Waylon Mendoza, who's a local blues artist, and he's just amazing on the guitar. We have Jeff Williams, who's a local guy too, but he originates from Oklahoma. We'll be having an Oklahoma native named Cherokee Screech Owl will be cooking southern fried food or southern food, gumbo, and she might even cook up some crocodile, she said. And we'll be having some barbecued ribs. Who else might? Renee Romanos will be doing some spoken word and poetry. And then Sarah Marie Ortiz, which is Simon Ortiz's daughter, will be doing poetry and spoken word. So, and then Sid Mills might show up. I'm at an event with him right now over here at the United Indians of All Tribes. They're hosting some Aztec dance troops coming through. Robert Free might make it, and Hank Adams should make it. He said he would be there to speak and talk about things. Carol Byrne is the one that made the movie As Long as the Rivers Run, that features the Bridges and Hank Adams. She'll be donating us some movies, so anybody that donates when they come through the door, whatever amount, even if they bring some food or whatever, just attend there. We'll be giving out some free copies, 30 of them, until we run out at the event, at the door. It is a fundraiser, but the funds are only recommended, $20 recommended at the door. And for more information, they could call me at 360-581-8255. 8631. That's Robert Upham. Or you could contact me at my email, which is blue_pony_lacrosse@yahoo.com. And then that's the general synopsis of it all, I think.
Okay, so the phone number is is it 253?
360
Okay, 360.
581
Uh-huh.
8631.
8631. Okay, and Scotty has joined us too.
Nice.
Yeah, he's on the line too, so we'll say hello to him. And I wanted to talk a little bit about lacrosse because I came from lacrosse country and up towards Syracuse, and that's why the Syracuse University always wins. But yeah, they have a good team, and it's because Native people play, and it is a Native sport, and it's amazing. So I'll give Scotty a chance to say hello and introduce himself, and I'm excited that he's coming and his group. And if you haven't heard of him, we're going to find out how you can. So how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. This is Scotty Clifford.
Hi, Juliana Browner.
All right.
And we're Scattered Their Own, and we had to pull over on the side of the road. We're en route to Seattle, actually. We just left Texas, Austin, Texas, the South by Southwest Music Festival. And we're almost to Lubbock, Texas. So we're going to be making our way up to Seattle by Friday, by Thursday night-ish. And, yeah, we're looking very much forward to Robert's event. First of all, a little bit about Robert. From our point of view, he's a quality human being. He's the real deal. And he didn't pay me to say this.
No, he's a mover and a shaker. We know that. Let's get behind him. He's smoking.
Yeah. And Juliana and I, love him to death, and he's been a part of the Scatter Their Own family for the last couple years. And in fact, he's the one that put us on the map out in the Northwest Coast. He invited us out a couple of years ago to play at a function with Gary Farmer, and we love the guy for giving us a chance out there. And that opened a lot of doors for us up there. And then the following year, last year we played at the EMP Museum with the Red Eagle Soaring group, and we just love Seattle. It's amazing, and it really feels like home. It's like a home away from home. And yeah, we're very excited to come out. We just did an interview with Native Peoples magazine, which will be out by the end of April. We'll be featured in the next issue as the center story. And
just in time for the release of our album. We're going to release our album the first week of April, so that's good for us. So our music is available on iTunes and on Spotify and Rhapsody. Again, our name is Scatter Their Own, and we're from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and we just travel anywhere where basically anyone wants to hear us. So.
Yeah, and we were received really well at the South by Southwest Music Fest. It's on another great place to, just the same amount of distance from Pine Ridge Reservation to go to Austin as it is for us to go to Seattle. And we're not afraid to travel and persevere, because we're Lakota. We're all about being on the move, and to us, movement is sacred, and you stand still for too long, you become stagnant. No use to anybody, especially yourself. So that's kind of what we want to do, is embrace our heritage, and we do it with music. So there's also other people from Pine Ridge that are always on the move, whether they're powwow people or rodeo people or sports people. I think it's important to be true to the facets that you come from, So for us as Plains Natives, we're supposed to be on the move, and that's how we honor our ancestors. So yeah, we'll be coming out there real soon. We'll be there by Friday night.
It's exciting, and we have to give a shout out to Ronnie Brings Plenty. She's been promoting you guys, and been loving the
mama.
Yeah, love talking to her and sharing with her. So we definitely have to give her a shout out at least.
I know she works really hard. Actually, she got us into a lot of different gigs actually by sending our emails and our songs and press kits out to people. So that really helped. And of course, she's my mom, so she's really pushing it for us, and she's proud of us. I just love, for me, actually, this last show that we did, I thought of her. She went through eye surgery while we were playing, so I played really good. Not to say that I'm the best player, but I felt really confident on stage because I was praying for her while she was doing her surgery. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also want to have another shout out to Louis Kong, who supported us from the very start too. We love him as well, and Louis Angaro, who's a member of Muckleshoot. He's on the board out there, and he's always supported us out there too. So those three individuals, as well as Fern Renville, who's as beautiful as ever. I mean, with that whole group of people, natives helping natives, First Nations, putting First Nations first, is what we're all trying to embrace, and we're all trying to get that message across, And if we're ever going to put Earth first again, we got to collaborate and come together as Native nations first, So that's what we're doing. We're coming out there to do, and we really appreciate those of you that have been supporting us in the Northwest Coast and Seattle area, like my cousin Quentin Redfeather. I don't know if he's listening, but he's a Lakota. He's from Pine Ridge, but he lives out there, and so it's just all about helping one another, sharing our message, sharing our music, and just hitting the road and staying on the road,
Absolutely, and it comes to what we've been talking about, honor our unsung heroes, and how I think Robert has been playing a big role in this area with topics and that you don't really hear of and see, and how he supports the youth and gets the word out. So it's appreciate that. I appreciate his dedication to the people, and I just want to give you everyone a chance to hear. If they haven't heard your music, where could they find it?
Well, there's iTunes. You could buy our stuff on iTunes. Scatter their own iTunes. If you have Spotify, Rhapsody, or Pandora, you can check us out on any of those links. And
then we also have a music video on YouTube, and some of our live stuff is also on YouTube, so you can check out what we sound like live. Yeah, just
Google Scatter Their Own, just like it sounds. And our name, of course, we want to encompass courage for our future generations back home, for our children, and for everybody else's children. And we want to do our part to be accountable and responsible for the future generations. So that's what we're trying to do. But just check us out on YouTube. You could like us on Facebook, actually. We always update our Facebook a lot. That's probably one of the best ways. And we have scattertherown.com. We have a Twitter. We have an Instagram. And, just scatter their own at any one of those social media.
All right. Robert, you still with us?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so to bring... How did you get involved? I mean, with when was your first time with our youth here, bringing them up this way? Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I know that you're involved with a lot of folks.
In '95, I helped bring the Iroquois National 19 and under team to Denver to play against the best players in Denver, Colorado High School All-Star team, and they kicked butt over there. And then we brought them back 2 years. In the third year, we brought over a contingent of Native youth from all over the nation to the Air Force Academy Youth Sports Camp. And we had 8 of them for lacrosse, and then others in different sports, self-defense, volleyball, golf, etc. And Blue Pony helped out with the Native Centers Youth Camp. We did 2 days Native theme, and then the other 7 days we put them into the Air Force Academy. So that's kind of how we got started. And then one of the kids that came over long time ago in '96, his name was Brett Bucktooth and Drew Bucktooth, Marshall Abrams. They all went on and played for Syracuse University. Brett won a national championship at Syracuse, and he got traded up here to the Everett area for the Washington Stealth. And I stood in line after the professional box team, shook his hand and asked him if he remembered me. He didn't remember me, but he remembered Blue Pony lacrosse. He said, yeah, he had a lot of fun when he came up there to Denver back in the day, and he kind of was a catalyst, or he was the catalyst to me becoming involved with the Stealth, and they appointed me as a native liaison, and they opened the door for us to do a screening of the Crooked Arrows movie that's out, and that's the screening we did. That's when Scatter Their Own played on Lake Union, and Gary Farmer, and then another gentleman spoke who's with the White House Initiative on Education in Washington, D.C. His name's Bill Mendoza. He came by and graced us with some words about education. And then Hattie Kaufman was at that event also. So just through lacrosse is a catalyst for social change and awareness. It's attached to the culture. It's attached to excellence with the game. And that's one thing I want to promote in Indian country is excellence. I get tired of people saying we're from the poorest people. We got the highest suicide rate. We got the highest incarceration rate. One thing I want to say is shout out to Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and Lakota people have shared their culture and sacred ceremonies with everybody for so long. They were kind of the substance of Indian spirituality back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and I think they're blessed, and I think they're richer than most of our people understand. And one of the things in Pine Ridge, where they're from, the name of their sports team is the Pine Ridge Thorpes, named after Jim Thorpe, who I talked about earlier. And there's something to be said for a tribal nation raising up somebody from another tribal nation. And I think that's very humble of them and very honoring to one of the best athletes, or the best athlete of the last 100 years. So that's kind of like how I become involved with lacrosse. And then we're bringing it here just because one of the missions of Blue Pony, we do not have a team that we play with every day or every week. We're going to be picking a select team to enter a couple tournaments. But what we are proud of is that we're visiting schools, and we're visiting powwows. We're visiting events. We were responsible for bringing approximately 2,000 natives last January to probably their first lacrosse game. And Rochester Nighthawks owner, Kurt Stiers, I gave him a ring because he's Indian, and he said, I'll buy the ticket. So he bought $30,000 worth of tickets. So shout out to the Mohawk that bought tickets for all the tribes out here that I disseminated and passed out at different events. So there's just a lot to it. It's not just about lacrosse. It's about the history that's attached to it. And when we start talking about the lacrosse, we also talk about the Iroquois women and how they picked the leaders and just the things that Indians contributed that enhanced the world here. And it's whether it's music or sport or, the history of our education or the art, that's what we'll be celebrating at our event on March 22nd, next Saturday. I just want people to have that spirit. We're going to continue to be Indians and be proud regardless of whether we get paid to hold a position in Indian country. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We just are.
And we got about 10 more minutes. I just wanted to give you a chance because I know you wanted to talk about Muhammad Ali, Buffy St. Marie, Floyd Westerman, Stevie Wonder, Marlon Brando, and Dick Gregory.
Thank you. Dick Gregory, he helped out with the fishing rights struggle back in the day, and there's some things that he did that I think need to be acknowledged for the Indian people. He was part of the sit-ins and the fish-ins in the late 60s, early 70s, and Hank Adams helped bring him in the Survival for American Indian, and Suzette and Valerie and Allison Bridges and Marlon Brando. They all did this together, and I just raised my hands up to them. And Buffy St. Marie, Muhammad Ali, he's just a hero of mine because not only him, but Sid Meals also. These are the most well-known, especially Sid Meals in Indian country. If you ever read the book Red Power by Alvin Josephine, he wrote a letter saying that he had a battle to fight with the fishing rights, and he wasn't going to go back and serve in the army anymore. You see what I'm saying? He put his Indian people first. And Muhammad Ali just flat out said, and I don't want to say that N-word, but he said no Vietnamese ever called me that word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then he refused to go, and then he took his medal and took sport and made it a catalyst to say he's sticking up for his people. So my hands are up to Muhammad Ali, and also there's a native basketball classic called the All Native Basketball Classic in Denver, Colorado. And Muhammad Ali supported that and bought trophies. And he attended that and gave away the winning trophy one year back in the 80s. And one of the flathead ladies from she's Salish, I forget her name, forgive me. She beaded him some boxing gloves. And then, so it's just unique to have those relationships with icons in the greater society, because we're invisible. And unless we get help from them, sometimes our own kids will be putting tattoos of their icons on their arms or shoulders, and really the tattoos should be people like Valerie Bridges and Jim Thorpe, or posters, like we should be wearing T-shirts. There shouldn't be a powwow we go to where we don't have available a T-shirt with Jim Thorpe on it, And this is the 50th anniversary of the Lakota man who won, the only American to ever win the 10,000-meter run in the Tokyo Olympics in 1964. That's Billy Mills. So that's another person we want to celebrate, because it just needs to be readily available in the minds of our kids. So that's I covered most of them. One of the things that Dick Gregory did that impressed me too, he said that when he went into communities and passed out tickets for people to attend his concerts, he'd tell them, don't tell them where you got these from. Because if they went to his comedy performance, and they were treated bad, he marked it down in his little book, and he wouldn't go back and perform there. So he just pretty much, we got to start calling people on the way they treat us. If they don't treat us good, then we support, we reciprocate good feelings towards us, and that includes things like the Washington Redskins,
Right, and Uncle Floyd Westerman, who's he was amazing all the way around, and Buffy St. Marie, who's still out there. I mean, it's amazing to me that I think she's over 70 and still doing it.
Yeah, and Uncle Floyd, I'm Dakota and he's Dakota, and we're both from the Veblen district in Saskatchewan, Wakpetawan, the Swo, they call it, Sisinwapton, Oyate, and Lake Traverse Indian Reservation, and he was, he was really in front of the artistic experience, meaning he incorporated our round dance songs on the guitar and sang a revolution. He told the BIA in his songs, we don't need you anymore. He talked about Custer died for your sins, and he just wrote. He said, "Where were you when?" Some of these people that claim they're Indians, but they weren't there when we were fighting for the cause. That was Uncle Floyd. And Uncle Floyd also even suggested, and I did do on his advice, walked across the United States for Peltier in '94 with Dennis Banks. So like over 3,000 miles. The walk was 3,800 miles, but I took a little break in Denver to possibly go Sundance over there in Greasy Grass, Little Bighorn.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. But the thing is that there's something I learned from Dennis, and I have to give him credit on. He's an unsung hero too for me, because Dennis asked me to read a poem at University of Nevada, Reno. And I declined because I was kind of shy. And when I went to that event, sometimes we don't have everybody stepping forward to participate and shout and give good word for our community. And so there was Japanese talking for Indians, people from Finland, and urban Indians, and people I didn't even know, and I come off the res, and I was like, if these guys could speak for me, I could talk for me too, So when we got on the other side of Nevada near, I think it was Austin, Nevada, when we went into the Dan Sisters area, the Dan Sisters that fight for the Western Shoshone people. Uh-huh. They went into a school with us, and we did a teach-in. And I came forward and asked Dennis if I could speak, and he said, "What you going to talk about?" I'm going to talk about our rights there in Fort Belknap, and about the gold mining going on in our mountains in the Landusky, the little treaty track area that they took from us, and just talk about the buffalo in general, the spirit of the buffalo being contained. Anyway, that was the first time I felt comfortable with talking in public. So that's through the American Indian movement and Dennis Banks that I even come out of my shell to be able to speak.
That's amazing.
Shout out to those guys.
I appreciate that, and like I said, we got a few more minutes. I'd like to be able to continue this conversation when we have longer time. I'd like to get you down here in the studio for a couple hours and just share what we're sharing on the air.
Oh yeah, that would be great. How about something from what I'd like to hear from is Scatter Their Own still on? Is Scotty still there and Juliana?
Yeah, are you still with us?
Scotty, can you tell a story about your relative Fool's Crow and about the food? Because we're going to be serving food there, and it's going to be Southern food, but there's a spirit to the food that Scotty shared with me, and I want to hear him share that with us, because it's about the event, and it's just learning, and this is something people could learn, these words that Scotty's going to share with us.
Okay. Well, let me pull over again. we're trying to get to Albuquerque by tonight, but this is important. We're with you though. So to us, owote, is food, and where that comes from is energy and spirit. So whenever people share food, they go all out and they do their very, very best to do whatever they can for whatever ceremony it is, and this is universal. It's not just a Lakota thing. And I appreciate the shout out to our tribe for holding our ceremonies dear. But man, that's something that my grandpa Frank Fooskrow did talk about. That we only have our ceremonies only became strong as they are now is because of our oppression and our dysfunction. Long time ago, we were the ceremony. We didn't have to conduct so many ceremonies and so many facets to where we need to become strong again. We were strong every single day. And what that really comes from is food and the way people prepare food. So at these gatherings, the women are so beautiful, and them alone are the backbone of all of our nations, right? They're the first teacher of every child, and we're only as strong as our women. So they're preparing this food the best way that they could, the way only women can. But they put all this love and energy into this food, and I kind of don't even feel right speaking for women either at this issue. But what Robert wanted me to share, though, that we're getting at is the food was prepared for the people. Okay, so now after the food is served, then we have cake, which represents wasna back in the day, or skuyela, which means like little breaded, things that people would save and spend like a few days actually preparing these foods for the spirit. They're like the spirit food. So cake to us represents, like, there's a lot of cakes at funerals, after ceremonies, after big name giving, celebrations. There's always like cakes in honor of so and so. And a lot of people don't understand, why are you guys serving cake? Why is this even a part of it? Well, yeah, we're oppressed, so we can't just go out and get wasna together or the different kind of choke cherry patties that people prepare during the summer. So therefore, cake becomes this substitute. Okay, so whenever people talk about cake, then some people get offended from other tribes too, and they say, well, why are we doing this like the Plains Indians? Why are we even trying to do something like this? It's not for you. It's not for me. It's for all the spirits that are there, that you save something very tender and dear for them, and you don't even really have. You eat it for the substance, but it's more about the energy that makes the spirit around all of us that are there with us. That of course we can't see. It makes them smile. It makes them happy. So therefore, you're ultimately honoring your ancestors that have gone before you, and that's like the most beautiful way that we can conduct ourselves that I learned from my grandfather Fooskrow. We honor those that have gone before, and even in the crowd, we're honoring those that are going to have yet to come. So not only the future generations, but previous generations. So if we can be that accountable and responsible for all of our actions, then us on earth that are walking around in physical form, and we shouldn't have no problem getting along. That's really, if we're really, really that attentive and affectionate to our dead or our unborn. So it's just something that I learned as a teenager from Grandpa Fusco before he passed away. So thanks for remembering that, Robert, and thanks for letting me share that again. Chicha.
So that's the spirit we want to share, Brian, at this event. It's the spirit that goes into the music and the food and the art. It's how we just lift up our relatives and try to make a good way for our kids, you know?
Oh, yeah. And that's always been the way, you know, and that the people have given freely like that. And so I appreciate, you know, your sharing this evening, and I really would like us to get you down here and share and more. We'll have a couple hours we can just chat freely.
Appreciate that. It's just trying to get the message out. Even my own daughters, sometimes they say, "Dad, you already told me that story." And I said, "Well, tell it to me then. Tell me the story." "Well, I can't remember." I said, "Well, then let me tell you again then." And then I know people in education and leaders in our community, we point our fingers too much at the non-Indians or the Wasichu, and they're not educating. Well, we got to educate our own kids too. So if we're preaching down to these non-Indians that aren't educating our kids, and I turn around and ask my own kid or somebody else's kid, "Do you know who Maria Tallchief is? Do you know who Valerie Bridges is? Do you know who Dennis Banks is? Do you know who this person is? You know, Osceola? Do you know who Tecumseh is?" And while these kids say no, we can't. The school system can't get by saying, "Oh, well, we told them, they just didn't remember." Neither should our kids get away or our community get away with saying we told them and they can't remember. We got to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, and that's what our event's about. We're going to just talk about it until they can't forget it.
All right. So, again, that's March 22nd.
Next Saturday.
And
6 to 9:30, University Friends Meeting House. And if you want to check on the Blue Pony Youth page or the poster that's on your page, then they can find out the location. Sorry, I don't have that address off the top of my head, but they can call Robert at 360-581-8631, and they'll have some great music, great food, and they'll have a great time lifting up our people.
All right. Well, thanks for both these, all three, for calling in, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Take care, Brian.
Take care. Doksha.
Yeah,
Doksha. You're listening to KAOS 89.3 FM here in Olympia. We were just talking to Robert Upham and Scatter Their Own. And again, I'll get you more information after this station ID.
Comments made during the broadcast of No Bones About It do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff,